My dad loved Hanford. My dad loved Hanford High. He put his life into it. He only lived about 3 blocks away from the high school. The first 2-3 years that he was teaching, I've never seen anybody work harder. And he was always trying to do his job better.
Mr. Mackey came to work dressed in a uniform, slacks, white shirt, iconic sweater every day. He had swag, as many students would say.
He had a commanding presence, but once you got to know him, he was this wonderful, inspiring man. He had a big heart, and he really wanted all of us to succeed so that we can have every opportunity in our lives.
He would walk to school every day, and he would live nearby, and he was a real member of the community, and he wanted to make sure that the community thrived, and the only way that the community was going to thrive was through education.
You could ask any question. You couldn't cut up, but you could ask any question, and you would get a thoughtful, well-formulated answer. And if you still didn't understand, he would make sure you did by the end.
That was what I remembered, is he took the time to make sure that you understood what you were doing and what he was teaching.
If you talked to him outside of the classroom, you got his undivided attention and you got his complete support.
Tests were killer. Every unit exam, they were tough. And so the day after we took an exam, Mr. Mackey would have posted on the wall what he called a frequency distribution, where it would list names of all the students, and he would draw the line for the A's and the B's and the C's. So everyone would rush in the day after class to see where they stood on the frequency distribution.
He was really preparing us for college and ensuring that we had all the skills necessary to be successful in college, and really instilled that love of science and curiosity for all of us.
He took an empty paint can and he drilled a hole in the bottom and the top, filled it with methane gas. While students were entering the classroom, he lit it. So once students were settled into their seat, it went off with a loud kaboom. The paint can flew to the ceiling. Students screamed, and Mackey thought that was the funniest thing ever. He loved to surprise the students.
He had a day every year where he would invite people that had been students of his to come back to his classroom and talk about how chemistry had affected their lives. Well, people are not going to come back to do that. They're get on with their lives. They came back in droves. They came back because they wanted to come to the classroom, because they were proud of having been his student. And he had students stopping by to see him for the rest of his life.
Mr. Mackey left an indelible mark on all of the students that were privileged to have him as a teacher, and really left a legacy for so many of us to follow.
At his stage in life and all the things that he had been through, he could have done a million things, but he chose to spend his time later on in life educating the youth of his town, and that was a great thing to do.
He had a solid value system, and he believed that if you adopted those values, work ethic, honesty, generosity, you would be a happy person. And he was a happy person.
He did his best to instill to every class and every student what they needed to know.
He's a good teacher.
Yeah, I think he represents really what should be considered the heart and soul of Hanford.